everybody. Welcome to Friday Bingo. I'm Sandy, and I brought with us Kay.
Hi, guys.
Excuse me, real quick. Kay is the developer of something that I use quite often, and it's called BioCheck app. She's going to give us a lot of demos on it, and I understand, Kay, that you've been working with Greg Clark's fan as well, and I think you guys are calling it chocolate and peanut butter. Kind of.
That's what Greg called it.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. We like both. We like chocolate. We like peanut butter. We're going to work them together. So what we're going to do is we're going to explain a little bit about the BioCheck app. He's going to explain it by giving us a demo as well. Then we'll do a bingo card, and then we're going to come back and really dig into it and see some demos. And we have a chance to demo it as with the fan as well. You think? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, what is biocheck and why did you create it?
I created BioCheck because I saw a lot of profiles out there that looked like they didn't have sources, but they didn't have the unsourced tag on them. So I created BioCheck to do that. Now, in order to tell if a profile's got a source, you got to look at the profile, and that meant I had to look at the style. So reporting about the style was kind of a side effect of how you had to look to see if it had sources. Sandy, you're the one who's echoing, I guess.
So I guess too, with the BioCheck, and I dropped the link into the chat as well for this particular page. I use it quite often so I can see what profiles have, I guess I call them design issues, but the header issues, sometimes they have too many of the equal signs. Sometimes the headers aren't on at all. I look to see also if there's some that are unsourced. This is going to check through my ancestry line, but not necessarily just the ones that I manage, correct?
Okay, it depends how you run it.
Okay.
You have the option of looking at your ancestors. You have the option of looking at profiles, your watch list, profiles you manage. You can look at your CC, whatever number you want to go to. Don't go too high because it'll take too long. You can look at random, or you can look at anything that you can search for with WikiTree Plus. So it's like super powerful. The echo is gone. Who muted?
The echo's gone because I'm not talking probably, but we'll get there. Well, I tell you what, since this is such an interesting app, how about if Kay shares her screen and I let her drive, and we see exactly how I would use BioCheck if it was the first time I've ever used it.
Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen. 1, 2, 3, select.
And while Kay does that, I'm going to also put up the bingo card, the very first bingo card.
Okay, now I can't see you because I'm sharing my screen, but
there we go. We got the WikiTree page.
I'm at WikiTree. I did not want to log out, so I'm already logged in. So I'm up here and I go to Find Apps, and I pick Apps, and I scroll down, and I find BioCheck, a tool to check profile sources. I click on that, and that brings you to BioCheck. A word about bingo is Sandy showed you the help. I'm showing you the page, which is showing the whole screen here. And the 50 words for bingo can all be found somewhere, either on one of the screens that you see or in the help. So what you see, you click on the logo to take you back to the main WikiTree. You see the version. You see who you're logged in as. You don't have to be logged in. But if you're logged in, then you can see profiles that you can only see when you're logged in based on privacy. This screen might look complex and confusing, but it's really not. Over here on the upper left is that's what I want to do. And over here on the right is that's what I want to see about what I'm going to do. And then the buttons let you control what's going on or go get the help. So you can always go to the biocheck help from the biocheck screen. Then these next two lines here, those are the ones you want to watch because that will show you what's happening. As it's running, it'll show you what it's doing.
Okay, just real quick, we have a quick question.
Sure.
When editing a profile, a biocheck message comes on. Is that from your app?
When editing a profile, oh, yes, that's the same. It's the core that's the same without all the windows around it. And it's also the same core that you see over in Tree Tools.
And then we also have from Stephen.
That's API rate limits. Let's come back to that. All right, let me go back to biocheck. So yeah, what you saw, and I will show you from this screen where you will see what the exact same thing that you see when you're editing a profile. Down here, this table is results. And then I showed you the help button. So if I go ahead and say, okay, here's the defaults. It's me. That's my profile ID. 5 generations of ancestors, 2 generations of descendants. If I go for a detailed report, including style details, which is going to be the issues over here, I say check, and it says, I'm looking, and it's done. But you think, oh, wait, it didn't do anything because it looked at 45, but it didn't find anything to tell you about because it didn't find any issues. So if I say, show me everything, and click check, and then it shows me, okay, they're showing up as sourced. There were no issues on the required sections or style issues, but this is pretty handy. It'll show you how many, this report will show you how many inline references it found. So if I go to Mary, where's Mary? As you can tell from the clicks I've been through on most of these guys. If I go look at Mary's profile now, I can take this ID and I can copy it and I can put it in here and check her. So you can check any ID. If I go back to, where is she? There she is. If I go to her and I click on Tree Apps, it takes me to the last app I went to, and I set this up for you because it's fan chart. And so you can see her fan chart. If I go to the settings now,
I just real quick want to mention about the fan chart that this is something Greg Clark built, and we've had Greg on Bingo specifically for this about a month ago. So definitely check out that Bingo because it was amazing as well.
And so I can color on the chart by the biocheck status. So you can see this one here turned up purple. And here's an unsourced one. Here's a couple with style issues. So that's a pretty neat thing that you can do with that. If you go to other apps, now I came from Mary's profile, and I can go to other apps for her, and underneath there I can go to biocheck to check her profile. Then I can look at, there's a question mark here. that says he's maybe not sourced, because biocheck is really stupid. And I can say that. I can say
You
it's
wrote
really,
it.
it sometimes, and I've got some examples to show. It will say, well, I don't think it's sourced. And it really is. There's information in there. It's just not set up so that you can see it. So if we go look at Thomas Mariner at his profile, you can see that he's got a couple of family trees. And well, he was born in 1642, and family trees are not a reliable source for any pre-1700 profile. So what's driving a lot of this, what's driving the whole thing, basically, and we saw it here in the required sections and style issues, is the help on biographies. It shows you the sections and optional subsections. A section has 2 equals. It's a second level section. Research notes is optional. Acknowledgements is optional. Subsections have 3 equal signs, and they're lower level sections. So biocheck is checking here the profile against this stuff in this style for the biography. And it's also checking the order. Some of the order check, I've got to come back and explain this, will show up on style issues, and it only shows up when you click the details. But if there is a reason to report the profile and it has a style issue, but you don't have that clicked, it'll still get reported if it's not sourced. Otherwise, it'll only show up when you click that. I've probably got better examples of that. Another thing that's driving the whole thing is sources. What's a source? And where do they fall? How do you do them? You do them as bulleted items underneath the sources and references, or you can do them as inline source using ref, and they can have a name. Basically, it's confusing, but I was looking at it. WikiTree doesn't use HTML. It's basically it's Wikimedia markup language, and the way that Wikimedia and Wikipedia, which uses Wikimedia, cite references is just this way, and that's where the sources and references come from.
And I just want to point out real quick that the source, let me start over real quick. It should be biography. If you have research notes, sources, and then that reference code that has a slash. And what biotech will do will go and look through all the options to make sure that you have everything in the proper order, as well as your sources. Some people put the inline sources below the sources line, and it kind of messes it up.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that's driving this is this sources FAQ, frequently asked questions. When does the unsourced research note box apply? Which basically says it's ambiguous or it's vague. If you say 1900 census or you say 1881 census, there's a lot of people could be found in that census. It's like saying Ancestry.com. Yeah. That's a repository. It's like saying, I found it in a library somewhere. I found it on the internet files. That's another one that a lot of people use. Personal research.
Mostly. Well, are these all profiles?
This applies to the sources unsourced applies to all profiles. Pre-1700 profiles have additional requirements for a reliable source. So, where's the best link to that? Probably.
I have for post 7. Now, if you're doing pre-1700 sources, you should probably be in a project that works specifically with those as well, because they have really good help, mentors, and resources on their space page for that. I'm going to post the link now that is for post 1700 sources. The reason why I want to do the post, Sourceathon is coming up, and most of us will be working on post 1700 sources. So everybody take time to look at this before the Sourceathon, and you'll be good.
So I know I kind of diverged from biocheck itself, but this is kind of what's behind everything going on there.
You can, but it's important to know this is what biocheck is looking for.
Right. In fact, somewhere here's in the help. Okay. And the help is kind of what I went through. It's like the upper left part of the screen is what to check. The upper right part of the screen is how to check it and report it. Then those two little lines of what's going on, and then the results. And so I talk about what's sourced, what's it mean when it's marked. It's either in a category, unsourced category, or has the research note box, and what maybe means. And then it talks about the required sections and style issues. And it should, if I scroll on down here, so it tells you all the different ways you can use to find profiles, what you want to get reported.
And this is where I was asking if it's just ones that I manage, or could it be further out? And these are some of the choices that you have. I tell you what, I know we saw the Echo. Why don't we bring up the first bingo card and play bingo for a prize? And okay, do you happen to have headsets nearby?
Me?
Yeah. Or earbuds?
Not real handy.
Okay. And thank you guys.
I'm going to mute myself. Does this help?
Let's see. Let's try that. Okay. Yep, that will work. Okay. But thank you guys for helping. We were dealing with the echo. We did get the echo down a lot, but for some reason it's still kind of there. So let's go ahead and start the bingo game. And what I'm going to do is bring it up on the screen. And I think the best thing to do is let Kay explain the words as I move on. And hopefully we can figure out the echo somehow going on. A couple things about bingo. If you're new to bingo here at WikiTree, here's the card. You should bring it up on your screen. I'm going to call the words. You're going to use your mouse to click on the word as I call it. If you accidentally click on a word that you didn't want to, just use your mouse, click on it again. I believe these have a free space. So everybody want to click on the middle that says free. That would be great. If it doesn't have a free space, then it wouldn't say free. You can get bingo horizontally, vertically, diagonally. Many of you could get bingo at the exact same time, but the first person who yells bingo in the chat, so the first person who's the quickest one to type bingo in the chat, is actually the winner. And this time I'm going to make sure that I go a little bit slower for myself because I got it wrong in the earlier bingo. So if you have won a bingo prize in the last 6 months, you cannot win again until your 6-month anniversary is going through. If you or someone in your family has won already this year, then you are not eligible as well for the same time period. There are lots of really super cool items in the WikiTree store. Eowyn, our fourth self, has been so busy. She's added in the Wiki Games. So if you were on the Wiki Games team, you could get Wiki Games branded information. I was on Fantastic first, so I could get a mug or I could get a shirt, anything up to $30 value. And even cooler is the Thon teams. Some of the Thon teams have their branded information up there. So you could get a Thon team mug or a shirt. And last but certainly not least, is this is WikiTree's 15th anniversary, and the 15th anniversary limited edition t-shirts and mugs are up there as well. So lots of choices. If you win a prize, again, remember you get bingo horizontal, diagonal, vertical, and you need to be the first one to tell me that you get bingo. I do not close down your card. Those that have won in the past 6 months play along too, because it's fun, and they will say bingo, but keep playing. That's because they've already won and they're just having fun. Okay, so Kay, I think what we'll do is we'll start and I'll let you say the words as we go along. So you can unmute yourself and then I will mute myself. Does that sound good?
Sure, and it might work as long as you don't say anything while I'm unmuted. GEDCOM. One of the things you can do with WikiTree Plus is search to find all the profiles that still have the name of the imported GEDCOM in the profile. Heading. Heading is the section heading, like biography. Browser extension. There's a little piece of biocheck that actually checks the biography and the sources that lives in the browser extension.
Is it the WBE?
Yeah, WBE, WikiTree browser extension. Ref. Ref is the Wikimedia tag, approved tag that is used to denote the start of an inline source citation. Reliable sources. Reliable sources are required for pre-1700 profiles. Biocheck also has an option, if you so desire, that you can run it so that it treats every profile as if they were born in before 1700.
That would give a very strong check.
Yeah, stronger check. Biography, the portion of the section that's checked, the section that's checked for it tells the story about the person. Source. What's a source? We don't want to go there.
I just want to note that I did leave a link. So if you need to review it, again, it was the post 1700 link. Is it me or did the echo leave? I'm really enjoying this, but I left a link. So definitely check it out before the Sourceathon if you are going to the Sourceathon. And if you're not, it's just good information. It's handy to have. It talks about what sources, as Kay mentioned. Everybody knows that unsourced box, the little curly bracket, the unsourced box is what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, you can ignore profiles when you are checking. So you can ignore stuff that's pre-1500 or that's not open. So you can ignore things that might come back in the report that you can't do anything with anyway. Check profiles. You got to click the stupid button to make it run. I will sometime look to see if you can just press return.
Well, I do have a question for you. So when I look at a profile and I edit it, and there's something that comes at the very bottom of the profile in a big yellowish orangish box that says profile has source, or maybe it says unsourced or check something, that's all coming from biocheck. So when I use biocheck, though, separately, not in an individual profile, when I use it separately, I'm actually going through my own ancestors and the related connections. Would that be a correct way of saying it?
No, not really. You're finding a collection of profiles, and for each one of those, you're running it through the same thing you would run it through when you do an edit. So you might search for profiles that were born in 1873 that are orphan, that don't have a manager. Or you might check for ancestors of yours, or you might check for people that are on your CC4. But it's the same check no matter how you find them. If you use a random number generator and say, I want to randomly look at a bunch of profiles, then that's what you'll get. Or everybody that came in with this DeCourcy, JEDCOM, or hair.jedcom. Hair is just as big, okay?
We know DeCourcy. Okay.
Sourced. BioCheck calls it sourced when it finds something in either the ref tags or below sources that it doesn't recognize as something that's definitely not a source. So it might say sourced when it's not really sourced, but it says bloody, 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 bloody. And BioCheck is really stupid and doesn't know that's not a source.
So it's up to us to double check, look at what we have, make sure that we've researched it and it looks accurate.
Yeah, it's like using BioCheck is like creating a map. You cannot do it automatically. It takes a person in the loop. It's an art and a science, so you have to look at it. Detailed, somebody else took cartography. Detailed is reporting the detailed style information.
And it looks like we have a bingo. This is really exciting. So Sapphire, I think this might be one of your first times in bingo as well. So congratulations. Let me show you how to get your bingo prize, or at least information about what you can pick. You're going to email Eowyn, and she's going to give you the information on where to go. And it's like a little mini online catalog that you can pick from. Lots of really, really cool items, as well as, I didn't mention, the famous Friday night bingo mug that I believe is the bestseller until the Thon came along. We'll see if the Thon and some of the Thon teams actually have some bigger sales than my bingo mug has. But congratulations, Sapphire. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Reach out to us if you have any questions about it. I am going to drop, because we're talking about the Thon teams and also WikiTree Day coming up, I'm going to drop a link to the store. So if anybody does not win a prize during bingo today, you can go up to the store and purchase it as well. Really cool stuff. Check it out. Okay. So, Kay, do we want to talk about the BioCheck in the fan chart next, or what would you like to talk about? And they do, Christine. If you look on the other side, you'll see a nice prize.
Basically, what you're going to see in the fan chart is the same thing you're going to see in the WikiTree browser extension. And it's all things that you also see in the app. So what I'd like to do is take you into the app, and I'll show you these things. And then those things, when you see them in the fan chart or when you see them in the app, in the browser, might make more sense. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're going to give us a demo of the app again and detail it down for us?
Sure. Let me go share my screen again. Where is it? That wasn't it. Here it is. Okay, I'm getting there.
And that's all right. The second bingo card is up and ready for everybody.
Okay. I can't go back and mute now that I'm here.
That's fine. I'm going to let you drive.
Okay. Here we go. What I'm going to do, we were doing check profile. We started off with me. I can't type today. So we started off with this. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and I'm going to unclick this report all profiles. And I'm going to go do a WikiTree Plus search. But I'm only going to check things that I can look at, which is open post 1500, because I can't do anything with those. Now, I don't know if you noticed that I'm whining, guys, but that's because I grew up in Onondaga County, and that's a local accent. So I'm going to look for orphan profiles that have Onondaga in their name, but I'm only going to search for 200. If you do a lot, you're apt to hit API rate limits. There are limits set on all the apps so that the servers don't get overstressed. I don't know how to fix it. Once you see that limit, it might be that you have to wait maybe an hour for things to calm down, but you can control how much you're looking at in biocheck, how much I want to search for, how many things I want to check, and how many things I want to report. So if you keep that smaller, because I mean, you're running biocheck and you're finding things to go look at, and it's going to take you a while probably to fix those. So let's go ahead and look at Onondaga orphans, or people that lived in Onondaga County that were orphans. And you'll see we have a whole bunch. Now these results might make more sense. They're sourced or not, lines between sources and references, and style issues. The category isn't at the start, the wrong level heading. It should be a subsection, not a section. And the required sections and style issue reports are exactly the same messages you will see if you open the profile in the editor with the WikiTree browser extension with the biocheck feature enabled. In the fan chart, you have configuration options that you can report stuff that's sourced and stuff that has style issues, either or both. And style issues include both the required sections and the details. This isn't in my script, but I'm going to do it anyway here. That was a detailed report. I can also do a summary report. It will show me the same results, but it'll show it to me a little bit differently. So I'll run those 200 profiles. Now I just see, yeah, it's got style issues or not. But I also see if it's an orphan, and I see the birth and death date. So I can take a look at, I can click on the column heading and I can sort it. Or I can click on the sourced column heading and sort it. Let me go back to my detailed report, get him again. And let's look at Gilbert Alexander. So we're going to click on the profile. It'll take us right there. Here he is. Remember we looked at the sources FAQ and it said this not sufficient to find that information? Does it qualify for the unsourced tag? It sure does. It sure does. So this guy is unsourced per the sources FAQ. Now, Mary Bell here, Crowell, she's sourced, but she's got lines between sources and references. And yes, she's sourced because there is sufficient information in here to be able to find that source. If I go look at the 1920 census, and I can't pronounce that, but it's in Oswego County, that town in Oswego County, or if I try and look at Cicero, I'll probably find her. If you go to upstate New York, you will find the classics and you will find the Indians. You'll find Cicero, Clay, and Onondaga, Oswego. So you can see this profile looks like it was probably came in from a GEDCOM and needs to be cleaned up. Mm-hmm. But it is sourced.
So even though there's GEDCOM junk, that's considered source?
I had you muted. I turned down my volume, so I didn't hear your question.
So with all the GEDCOM information there, that's still considered source?
Sure.
Because we could go and look at that particular census and that particular location for that particular person and find it, just because the link might not take us there.
Right. It's not linked, but that's certainly sufficient. If you look at this, it's like It's got the role, page, enumeration district. There's plenty of information to take you to find that source. You don't have to have it available online. It doesn't have to be a link to an online source. That's a perfectly valid source. I shouldn't have closed my window that I had here. What is sourced? I should have jumped down to that. It'll make you dizzy. Okay, here's the pre-1700, and here's the sources back. So here's the sources back. What? It's got to be specific enough. It doesn't have to be a perfect source citation, which would be evidence explained styling. Although those that were in Mary, they're pretty close. Doesn't have a link, but that's got everything. It's got all the 4 W's: who, what, why, where.
I think sometimes we assume that a source is only a reliable source if it has a link, and that's not always the case.
No, that's not the case. That's not the case. Under pre-1700 profiles, there's a link to the category for reliable sources, and each project will talk about what sources are reliable in their time frame, in their location, because things differ of what's reliable for the Mayflower versus what's reliable for Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to see those on my screen.
No, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very, very good point, because if you're in a project or if you're working on a particular profile that's in a project, definitely check out that project's reliable sources tab. All of them have it.
Yeah. And a lot of them have a lot in common. None of an online family tree is never a reliable source. And there's a lot of other things that are basically compilations from online family trees, like the IGI or the the Edmund West Family Data Collection. All that is scraping a bunch of online family trees, so they're not reliable either. Let's go back and look at another profile. Instead of searching for another Onondaga orphan, I happen to have already looked. In fact, this guy was in a demo a long time ago.
And this sounds like this is great for one-place studies as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's so many ways you can use it, because WikiTree Plus is so powerful. Anything you can do with WikiTree Plus, and you push it through here. And matter of fact, let me get Bacon first here. I want to look at Bacon. That's just one profile. But what I did, Bacon 26 is not a profile manager. So by just putting that in as the search text, WikiTree Plus will find just that profile. And there's this button for WikiTree Plus over here that will run the same search in WikiTree Plus. And that's pretty handy if you run a search and you want to see the suggestions on it. But there's help for WikiTree Plus, and it's the text search. It's not the suggestion search. And the help is very extensive, very good. Will tell you what all you can search for. So if we look at good old Chuck Bacon here, we'll see that he's got a lot of information. Somebody had, he's sourced. He's sourced. When did he get sourced? Oh, he showed up. He's sourced. Yeah, he's sourced. He's just missing his biography heading. We could fix him and make him go away.
If you'll pause on that, scroll back down a little bit. So if you notice, all the headings aren't there. That's a great catch, Kay.
Yeah, he's missing the biography heading.
And BioCheck goes and looks for that. That's what's fabulous about BioCheck.
Now we've got another one to look at over here. Fitu, Lydia, and she doesn't have any headings, and she might not be sourced. Let's see what she's got. Well, she's sourced. She's got, somebody came in and probably deleted the headings because they didn't know they were required.
Mm-hmm.
and put in the sources. So she looks pretty good. She looks pretty good. She's been pretty good for since 2021. That's a good long time. Um, so it's
That would
going to
have
find.
a database error as well, right? Can
I
you go
think
into,
it might.
yeah, could you go into edit on this one?
Uh,
And I just want to also point out that this is what you see right there where it says biocheck results. And some of you were asking about that earlier. Kay's app is built into WBE.
and I don't see any suggestions on this profile. Well, let me show you something while we're here doing the app. Um, let's add a biography heading. Now you want to know how I type that so
Yes,
fast.
I do.
I use an auto text expander.
Okay.
But now if I go, I wasn't quick enough. Okay, so now it's unsourced, but it doesn't have a sources heading. Let me do this quicker and go over save draft. I move my mouse over the save draft button and it rechecks the bio.
Oh, that's great. You didn't click on it. Your mouse is just hanging over it.
It just moved. Yeah, I can't. There was a conflict. If you click on it, there was a race condition and there was a conflict and you couldn't save. So I got rid of that. So you just move your mouse over the save draft button and it will check it. And okay, now it's just going to tell you, you didn't say anything about this lady. I'm going to get rid of that.
Oh, but that's great though. So what she did is she had a bunch of items in that box and she went and added the biography, for example, and cleaned it up. When she moved her mouse just over the save draft, the box changed. It updated.
Because it ran biocheck again. It basically checked it again. It said,
Yeah.
oh, you made the change. And the same thing will happen when you go in. I'm not going to do it because there's only so many John Doe born in 1750 that you can play with.
There
But if you
are.
go in and you do add profile, or you go to add either by adding a spouse or a kid or somebody who's not related, when you're in add profile and you move your mouse over before you go to save it, and biocheck runs there too. And so that annoying box is going to pop up and tell you, hey, wait, you didn't do this right.
I don't think that's annoying. I appreciate that box.
Let's look at, oh, I typed it wrong. I didn't want May, but, marked, profile is marked on source. That says it's already got the tag on it. Let's look at Jeanette. Jeanette's got an empty biography section. Oh, she's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She's got an ancestry family tree. So basically, she's sourced, right? Yeah, she's sourced. She's got a tree. She's sourced. She's valid. Now we don't know without going and checking that tree if it's any good, and that's, put it in the template so you can follow the link. But if I go click reliable sources required and recheck the same profile, it's going to say she's probably not sourced because all she's got is a tree. If I look at a sources report, it will list the sources that were found on that profile, and it will count the sources that were found on that profile. And the count is 0. It says, that doesn't count. Who had sources that we could count? Did she have sources? I don't think she had sources either,
That's pretty
did she?
amazing. Your app is going out instantly and seeing all the style issues and to see if it's sourced or not.
Let's try this one. That's it. This is a good one. This is that Mary Spencer that was the JetCom import that had all this stuff in it. And this shows pretty well. I've got reliable sources required checked. So it's got a family tree and it's going to say count 0. That doesn't count as a source. But this other stuff, it counts. And there's more than one of those, so it's going to count.
And I will agree with Carol, who said earlier that even though they are considered reliable sources, the GEDCOM junk does make profiles look kind of messy, and I would definitely clean it up as well.
Did I do Coldwell? Did I remember to do this? I had one more on my list, and then I was going to show you a couple other things you can do. You found a lot of stuff out, though. But let's do Coldwell.
And I dropped the link for the second bingo card if you guys want to bring it up when you're ready. We're still going to do a couple more demos, though.
Yeah. I think this guy's not sourced. This guy's got a few problems. So this was a good one to show you that if I go in and I add the biography heading and then I move my mouse, then...
Isn't that great? Look at the box. Every time she enters something and puts her mouse over the save draft, that box changes.
Now, the other thing I could do is... Oh, I'd moved it over save draft. I didn't want to do that. Okay, it's going to check it. If you wait long enough, I think it's 30 seconds. It might be 60 seconds, which is like forever. It will check it again every so often. There you go. Oh, I might have moved my mouse over it. Okay, so yeah, I want to leave the page. I've got some more things that I can show you, but I think I heard we need to go do bingo.
We've got about 10 minutes left of the bingo hour. So,
yeah, people want their prizes.
Well, they do, but I want to see a couple more examples as well. So, I happen to agree, Joe. This was really enlightening to me. Kate kind of told me about this as we were preparing for this bingo. That saved draft information is so handy, and you might not have known it. So again, all you got to do is just fix what you think needs fixed, put your mouse over that save draft button. You don't have to click it, and it'll automatically do like a bio check real quick for you and see if you fix the items or not. Because I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I will go in and I fix the items, or at least I think I did. I'll hit save. I'll go out and I'll see, nope, it's still messed up. Or maybe I did an extra equal sign and I shouldn't have. Or maybe I didn't do a space between the biography line and a sticker or category. So I think that moving your mouse over that save draft button for a little quick mini check as you're editing is just fantastic. It's really great. Okay, so let's play the second bingo game. Let me bring it up. And if everybody has their bingo cards up, I'll explain it again. Let me bring it up. So again, to win bingo, you just need to get horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. Click on the mouse, just dab it. If there's a free space, it says free. Go ahead and click on it now to get you started. The first person who types the word bingo in the chat is the winner. If you've won in the past 6 months, you cannot win again until your anniversary has passed. And if you or any member of your family have won so far this year in the past 6 months, then you have to wait for your anniversary and your entire family. But your neighbor could still win. So invite your neighbors as well. You do not need to be a WikiTree member to win at bingo. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the words. I'm going to be the clicker and Kay is going to be the talker.
Max. Use the max to control how many things you're going to look at, how many things you're going to do, so you don't hit those rate limits and so you don't overstress the servers. Comment. Oh, a comment. It will find a comment without an ending, and anything in a comment in a profile is ignored. So comments don't have sources inside them. Horizontal rule, that's the 3 dashes. It's allowed, but it's not supposed to be used a lot.
I do need to say that people will use those dashes that make that light gray line. There's a few profiles that have like 20 of them. It's not supposed to be used like that.
Oh, you can check your watch list. I can show you that, or it's
That would be great.
yeah, I want to show you that when we go back and demo some more. Search, you can search, and anything that you can find with WikiTree Plus, you can check it. Remember, you're checking not just to find things that are unsourced, but things that have style issues. So what you're finding are things that need to be worked on. It might have sources, but be an old Jetcom import that needs to be cleaned up, and it's going to help you find those. Inline source or footnote using the ref tag. You find sources there.
And the inlines go above the source line. Summary
report will give you a list. It'll show you who's orphaned. And when you export that report, it will give you 3 more columns in it for reviewer ID, status, and comments. If you've looked at the Jedi Challenge, you've seen that in action. Empty. It complains when the biography section is empty and doesn't have any words in it.
And I want to point out something with this. If you add a little bit of information into the biography, when people might search for that particular person or that particular location throughout whatever browsers they have, and they search for it, because you have some biography in there naming the person and the location and the dates, yet again, it kind of acts as a cousin bait as well for search engines. So you definitely want to put a little bit of biography in there. And with Sourcer and WBE and B and AutoBio, there's lots of options to do that real quick and easy if you prefer, or if you really prefer to hand write the long biography, you could do that as well. And Kay, we have a bingo. So this is really cool. Vicky, you won bingo. That is awesome. And let me also let you know that I like this too. Thank you so much for doing that. Bingo. And that's pretty cool. I like it. So what you want to do is email Eowyn, and she will get you the link and the information and give you all the details of what you need to do and what she needs from you to order your prize. So congratulations, and you'll have to come back to bingo and let us know what you picked, because I'm curious to see what everybody gets. I know that Steven is in the audience, and he showed me that he got a shirt in his favorite color. So congratulations. That's pretty cool. Okay, I do want to mention something that came up during the bingo as well. So biocheck has to be enabled in the WikiTree browser extension for it to come up in the profiles.
And one of the words that never showed up for us was research notes. If you look at the description of research notes, which is in the biography help, research notes are for research notes, not necessarily things about the person. So anything that's in research notes is not counted as a source. And I've had several questions on that. Why are the research notes, I've got this sourced, and it's not. It's in the research note.
It's not a source. It's a note. It's not a source. Okay, so can you show us how to check our watch list?
Yes, there's several things that I want to show you that I think you'll find are kind of interesting. So let me go share my screen again. Entire screen. Okay, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go back to myself. And I'm going to do a detailed report, and I'm going to report all.
And Stephen, you are correct.
And I want Wilson 401. I want to get Wilson. Okay.
And then when you're ready, Kay, if you'll share your screen, we'll see what you got going on.
Oh, am I not sharing? Oh. Oh, did I not? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sharing now, right?
You're sharing now.
Okay. What I did is I went back to myself and I said, check everybody, report all profiles.
And okay, since we have a question too, the research notes, that's 2 equal signs on both sides or 3?
It's 2.
Okay.
Per the biography help, it's a section, not a subsection. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to look at any ancestors. I'm not going to look at any descendants, but I'm going to look at, we don't want to do too many. Let's do a CC4 of all my connections.
And Kate has her WikiTree ID number in there.
Huh? So what I'm doing, you can put any ID in here you want. I'm going to do my own. This is running a biocheck on my CC4. Let me do it for. Oh, good, thanks. So these are people who are in my CC4 that have some issues with biocheck. So I didn't know if you could use that. Now you got to be careful with this. You don't want to go too high, and you probably don't want to do ancestor and descendant generations at the same time, because you want to keep it 1,000 profiles or less if you can. You can get real high real quick.
And you're not going to work on 1,000 at a time. You know, you're going to work on a small batch at a time as well.
If I go back to this guy and put him in here, and say 5 and turn this off and put this back to 0. So I can see there's some things related to this guy in 5 ancestor generations that could be looked at. There's just some of the things that you can do here. If I go back to 0 ancestors for him, 1 degree. So I want 1 degree, everybody. If you don't click everybody, it'll only check ones that it already found some kind of an issue with, which is really handy if you find somebody and you want to go out 1 or 2 times to check their relatives, because unsourced is a hereditary condition and tends to run in families. So I can check. Summary report for Wilson. Why is it?
Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
For the demos.
All right. And you wanted to see the watch list?
Yes, please. I think that would be handy.
Okay. So I'm going to go check my watch list with a detailed report.
And how do I do that?
You pick watch list up here.
And
you can do it like that, or you can also go to your watch list and click biocheck here if you have biocheck enabled in the WikiTree browser extension. It adds this button here. But so that's just another way to start it to get you here. Now here with your watch list, you can control how much you're doing. I know some people have really big watch lists. I'm going to check my whole watch list because I got smart after I developed the capability to check the watch list to make my watch list a lot smaller. And so I can check my watch list and it's going to see, you see it's going through, and that's what happened on my watch list. So the other thing I can do is I can report only profiles that are not managed by me. So I can, come on.
While you bring that up, I want to mention for the check watch list, what might be really cool is if you do a connect-a-thon and you add a lot of profiles that maybe are not related to you, or maybe you do not want to continue to manage them as a PM, wait a week after the fun and come run this, check watch list, and you can clean up any errors that might be from those profiles that you created, and then you can release yourself as PM knowing that you cleaned up the profile and that they're in good shape for whoever might want to go and grab it and become a profile manager.
Now, say you want to just find out who's on your watch list that you're not the manager for. You're on the trusted list, but you're not the manager.
Oh, and this happens a lot.
Yeah. So this is pretty handy. And the other thing you can do on your watch list, oh, that's interesting, is see how many inline references there are. So you could go through your watch list and say report all profiles and show me the inline ref count. Oh, there's one more thing that I've got to show you. I've got to show you this because this is so powerful.
Let's see it. And for the WikiTree browser extension, there's an option to enable biocheck.
Yes. I'm going to look at this guy Wilson here. And I got the report for him. See this search biography? I can search for, I'm going to report all profiles. I could search for farmer. Since he's one of my ancestors, we should find, I got to sort it to find the answers, a number of profiles that have the word farmer somewhere in the biography. So you can use search biography to search for a phrase or a word inside the content of the biography. I know that the PGM project used that to search for something they were looking for. They wanted to find people for one thing. One more thing I want to show you, and that is random.
Oh, I love the random.
Only going to do 100. And this is really handy to have ignore pre-1500 and open profiles only. So you can just go out and randomly say, I'm looking for some rabbit holes. I'd like to find some people to look at. Unfortunately, you cannot say, I only want ones that are orphaned. So you never know what you're going to get here.
I love that though. I really do.
There's so many things you can find. This guy is one of those guys that appears as maybe unsourced, but he really is sourced. It's just a formatting issue. Iceland Tithridge. He was a scholar in 1891. I don't know England that well, but to me that looks like pretty ambiguous and vague, that it's not specific who, what, where, when, to be able to find that source.
Tough to find.
Anyhow, let me
and that's the random.
Go back
so
to this window
when I do random
stop
a lot,
sharing my screen.
Random during calls. I'll do it during conference calls or something. I'll go through and do a couple.
She's muted. Are you muted?
Nope. I'm still here.
Oh, I turned off my volume.
Let me show everybody real quick because this is really important to go through. Let me share my screen and I will bring it up. So to enable.
I can't hear Sandy. Can everybody else hear Sandy? What'd I do?
The echo's gone though. I will say that. To enable the WikiTree browser extension, come up to I go to the puzzle piece. And then I come up to the WikiTree. Thank you, Jogo. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Carol. I come up to the WikiTree browser extension. And if you click on the edit.
I can't hear, so I'll just be quiet.
Once you do the puzzle piece at the top, it'll bring up the screen. It doesn't bring it up for me here, but once it'll bring up the screen and you want to pick the WikiTree browser extension, just click on it. Then click on the editing at the very top. And the very first option would be biocheck. Oh, well, that's good. That's really cool, Bill, that you can hear both and no echo. So that works out really well. I'm not sure. I think Kay might have her speaker down or low. So I think that will cover though almost everything that we've got. I want to congratulate the 2 winners for bingo. I also want to let you guys know that bingo will not be in 2 weeks because of Sourceathon. So definitely check out the hangouts that are going to be happening. Also, check out the bingo for WikiTree Day. We're going to have a bunch of really, really, really great guests and prizes. Bingo will be just 1 bingo card during WikiTree's presentation, WikiTree Day presentation. So definitely check it out as well. Thank you guys for helping us deal with the echo and being patient with us as well with this bingo.
I'm going to have to go watch this after the fact because I've lost the video when I shut my screen down.
So I think that what we'll do is we'll go ahead and end it now and say thanks. And if you're watching this after the fact, thank you guys as well for coming back and watching us. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for joining.